You are witnessing the Mount Rushmore podcast. My name is Jeff, and I'm joined, as always, by my good friends Richard.
What?
And Michael.
Howdy.
Sorry, that was my Darth Vader whenever he sees the Millennium Falcon come to attack him.
There are young characters, there are old characters, and then there are baby versions of characters, and that is the topic of this discussion on this week's Mount Rushmore podcast. And I thought of it, because I'm compelled by the act structure of storytelling, and sometimes we encounter a fractured narrative. We don't even know that we're going to encounter it. Sometimes we'll meet a character, let's say Darth Vader, and not realize that, 20 years later, we're going to see the first act of Darth Vader, which is the Anakin Skywalker character. And sometimes
Way to tie it into Richard's nonsensical opening.
Maybe even the storytellers who create those stories don't even intend for there to ever be a baby version of that character, but they're so compelling and they're so cute and they're so popular.
Baby race cars is what Richard was just watching there.
Just looking up.
They're baby go-karts. So that is the topic of discussion, and we're going to tackle it. And I think Richard went first last week's episode, so Michael's going to go first this week.
Sure, I'm guessing this is going to be on Richard's list too, but the Muppet Babies.
Yes, I have a specific one. Do you have a specific one, or are you just Muppet Babies full stop?
Oh, I was also... okay, so... I was going to say Muppet Babies full stop, but if I was going to do...
That's fine. I mean,
hold on. Let me think about it for a second. If I'm going to choose the best version of the Muppet Babies, best character...
you got this, Michael. You can pull this out.
Sure. It's going to be Animal, right?
Yes, absolutely. 100%.
Oh, wow.
I had to think about it. I had to think about whether it was Animal or if it was the wholly new created character of Skeeter.
Get the fuck out of here with Skeeter.
The Muppet Babies came out of, was I guess most widely popular with the cartoon, the Jim Henson cartoon, with Walt Disney Productions well kind of teamed up. Mm-hmm. But they really made their debut in Muppets Take Manhattan,
where there was no baby animal.
There was no baby animal, but there was just this just adorable sequence where Miss Piggy is imagining what it would be like to be married to Kermit the Frog, and or maybe she was remembering what it was like when they were babies. I don't really know what the flashback sequence is, but it's just the Muppets as we know them, but just reduced and cute.
Yeah,
they're simmered down to their most syrupy cuteness, running around a nursery.
I would like to go to our crowdsource on Facebook
This has to be out.
a little bit earlier than normally would, but our good buddy Scott Jones, his four Muppet Babies, immediately drawing the ire of Irishman Paddy Cullum.
Sounds so accurate.
Yeah,
I'll just
That's on brand for everyone.
I'll just quote a little bit of the salvos that went back and forth. I'm a fan of everything on this list except for Muppet Babies. Don't know why, but the Muppet Babies make me viscerally angry. Skojo, let's do our own version of this MR podcast where you keep saying Muppet Babies and I keep screaming, no, and throwing things at the wall. Should be able to fill 45 minutes with that. Scott Jones replies, I get that. Baby versions of most characters make me irritated that I'm watching that watered-down version instead of the fully formed grown-ups. Now,
God, get over yourself, guys.
Yeah,
Muppet Babies are great.
And also, get your own fucking podcast.
Yeah.
Stop busting into ours. Wait, I did that. Okay.
You kind of invited
I kind of
this
invited
kind
them.
of commentary,
Literally
Jeff.
told people to do that.
Literally, this is what you
wanted.
Yeah.
So when you were deciding what babies you liked or you didn't like, was watered down versions a problem?
I never thought of it
I
that
never
way.
thought of it that way either. Because
Okay.
Animal is, and I thought of Animal specifically, because he is, if anything, almost the same version.
Yes.
Like he hasn't changed.
Yes.
Like Animal as a grown up is basically just a big toddler.
Yeah.
Like a 2-year-old.
Even the Muppet Babies themselves are mostly toddlers.
Right.
They have, some communications. Amazing communication skills for a pig, a frog, and a whatever.
And whatever Gonzo is, yeah.
Yeah. But Animal really
Has no communication.
He can't put more than 3 words together.
And
Eat drum is about as far as it goes.
And plus, he's got the bonnet, which is just so adorable.
What I enjoyed, obviously, I was a kid growing up watching it, and it was always kind of on. It came out in kind of the mid-'80s, late 80s.
Yeah, it's mid-'80s.
Like that. The cartoon, at least. And they really captured, now that I have a 2.5-year-old, they really captured like the imagination play of really young kids. They're constantly going on these little adventures in their nursery, and all they do is reflect the things that they've seen on television. You know, for some reason, I guess because of the partnership with like Walt Disney or Jim Henson, they have like all this
IP in there.
Yeah, there's footage. They use footage from like Star Wars.
Oh, yeah.
And there was just different aspects where they're like kind of recreating movies, Indiana Jones, different things that they've seen. And it's 100% what my child does.
Yeah.
He sits there and he reenacts the things that he has seen and he relives them. Just today or yesterday, he was taking pillows off the couch and he was recreating the trash compactor from Star Wars.
Oh, right on.
And he'd sit there and he'd say, Daddy, tell me don't go in the trash compactor. And I'd say, Felix, don't go in the trash compactor. He'd go, I'm in the trash compactor. Then he'd climb out and say, Daddy, tell me don't go in the trash compactor again. I'd be like, Felix, don't go in. I'm in the trash compactor. And all these things are really reflective from the show.
Yeah.
Where all they're doing is using their imagination to recreate things that they've experienced or seen. And I think it's wonderful. It's definitely interesting to see it as a parent. And the other thing I think they really did well was the character of Nanny.
Yeah.
Who is just this...
Played by Barbara Billingsley.
Is just this...
The mom from Leave It to Beaver.
Oh. Is just this body with legs.
Yeah.
You never see anything else
Nope.
other than...
Just the striped socks, I think it was.
This weird striped socks thing. And I think, that definitely captures the viewpoint of a child where it's certainly... There's a height limitation to what their play is and what they... I mean, obviously...
They can look up,
but
they do have necks.
I thought it was a very interesting storytelling thing that they've done.
And P.S., there is a new Muppet Babies that premiered on Disney Junior
a couple years ago.
No Skeeter does have a purple penguin named Summer Penguin, so it can fuck right off.
I met Matt Danner, the head of that show, and
Also the voice of Kermit.
Also the voice of Kermit, and I can't imagine anybody more like Jim Henson.
Oh,
like
really?
He absolutely, in a tour of his office, he showed me his Kermit collection. This was the Kermit he made when he was in grade school. He sewed together out of felt. This was the Kermit that was in his crib when he was an infant. Like,
now you're making me feel bad for saying that show could fuck off.
You said the character. Maybe. Okay, all right.
But now I feel bad.
But I can't, sometimes...
How does he feel about going to the doctor?
Oh, shoot.
Does he feel okay about that?
I think so.
Will he go to the doctor if he gets sick?
I guess.
And
I'm
he's
sorry,
got
is this a
something
Muppet?
on Jim Henson.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, so I was glad to actually see that. When somebody is...
Was that too soon? Jim Henson's death joke? Was that a little too soon?
Ooh, too soon. Why don't we move on?
Yeah.
Okay, so Richard, what is your second of choices?
What was my second of choices? I don't remember. No, just kidding. It's Baby Yoda.
Another...
Maybe.
Yeah.
Parenthetical. Maybe.
The child.
We're not really sure.
Yeah.
We know that it's a baby of that species.
Yeah.
We've only seen 2 of those species.
Collectively known as Baby Yoda, but I don't think it's actually Yoda.
I think it might be a clone. I think there's clues that are pointing to cloning.
I think so too.
So it's a clone of somebody.
Okay. I think there are clues that are pointing to that they want to clone him, not that he's necessarily been cloned.
Well, we've only ever seen 2 of that species that we know have force powers. And we know that as Jedi, they should not have been mating. So unless all of those species have clone powers or have force powers, or this just by luck happens to be one that does, I just think that it's too on the nose.
For those that haven't been living 3 miles deep under the earth, we're talking about the Disney Plus series, The Mandalorian, and the child version.
Do we think Frank Oz did a Muppet Baby voice as well as a Yoda voice? Because so far as this Ozcast.
Oscar.
I want to say that Phil Hudon also from Kansas City and from Shiny Machiniste also mentioned Muppet Babies, but then a lot of people mentioned Baby Yoda, as was expected. But among them was Scott Jones and then
Other people.
other people. Yeah,
Have you watched The Mandalorian yet, Jeff?
yeah.
Okay.
I've seen the whole.
What's
season.
your opinion? Is this Yoda's baby? Is it a clone version of Yoda, which I would still argue is a baby version?
Doesn't
of
the
Yoda?
time not work out that he would be? Does the time?
He'd still Yoda's. I mean, okay.
No, Yoda's dead because this is after Jedi.
So if you want to think of a time frame, and I think this is something that is a bit more closer to it, the character is 50 years old when they are initially trying to capture said asset, right?
Yeah.
Which is a strange number. It's very exact. The person that would have been 50 years old at the same time is Darth Vader. Anakin Skywalker was 50 years old. So I kind of have God, this is when you start getting nerdy. Sorry, everybody. Where
Yeah, sorry I brought this upon us, you guys.
if
I love it.
Anakin Skywalker was this so-called virgin birth sort of thing, this virgins in the Force that kind of came out, and he would have been 50. Maybe there was a duplicate thing that happened at the same time, and it happened to have been a Baby Yoda. The last Star Wars movie didn't really address this. I know for those who haven't seen it, it's pretty early on, and we'll avoid talking about it here, but there might be something connected to Darth Vader or something with the Force creating this guy at the same time, creating Anakin at the same time. Who knows?
Okay, so here's my theory. I'll give you my clone theory. So there's Dr. Pershing. This is all spoiler alert, by the way. So come back in like 5-10 minutes if you don't want to know about Mandalorian. So Dr. Pershing, who is the doctor who the client is working with, has a Kaminoan patch on him. And the Kaminoans are the people who were responsible for creating the clone troopers. So there is a connection between having a Kaminoan doctor, physician, scientist.
A Kaminoan doesn't know, do I want a truck? Do I want a car?
They're
How about
all
both?
confused. Why not both? So that would be I think a something that would point in the direction of being a clone, and I'm going to go with Yoda.
Counter to that, if, let's say, this Baby Yoda had escaped from this cloning facility and he is a clone of him, wouldn't they just already have his genetic makeup on file?
Could have
And
been been destroyed in a number of battles.
Well, agree to disagree. What we can agree on is he is cute.
He's
No,
a
he
cutie.
is a sassy cutie
He's
patootie.
fun. He was so unexpected. Disney and Star Wars, the Lucasfilm group, did such an amazing job of keeping that secret.
He can take a punch, too.
Yeah,
Oh,
he
yeah,
did.
bop right in the head.
By Jason Sudeikis. Just
Punches a baby. That's
Jason
only,
Sudeikis has to be
only
the
Disney.
most hated man in the Star Wars universe. Question for you, Michael.
Yes.
And I know that you have been listening begrudgingly to Binge Mode Star Wars podcast.
Sure, yeah.
They have been debating during their Mandalorian talks about whether or not the overwhelming cuteness of Baby Yoda detracts from the overall story arc. If he is so cute that is distracting, and that he's become the Urkel of the show at this point, that he is so dominant that all of the non-Baby Yoda things that are happening, anytime something that's non-Baby Yoda that happens, you think, why aren't we seeing more Baby Yoda?
No, I think the character serves a purpose to be perfectly cute enough that such a hard-hearted person as the Mandalorian has to save him. Even his cold visage behind that mask, even he's like, oh man, look at those ears. Look at the sunlight coming through those ears. He's too cute.
I think
I don't know. That's interesting, but like the show is just ridiculous anyway. I don't think it matters. I think the only way that show would really jump the shark is if / when the baby Yoda starts talking, and if he talks in like broken backwards English,
like Elmo shit. Yeah. Oh,
then you're done.
Yeah.
If he starts talking in like, do or do not, there is no try, and just once he starts stringing words together, not from like a cultural aspect, but from like this is how the Yoda species talks, then you're just like,
So who should voice Baby Yoda? And
Howie Mandel.
And why Tom Waits? Because if you got Werner Herzog, you're on the show. You've already kind of gone off the deep end. That's right. Let's just go whole hog with it.
No, you know what's gonna listen. Look at the cast of the people that have been on the show. It's all comedians. It's gonna be Adam Sandler doing like, "I'm the Baby Yoda." That is 100%, or it's gonna be like Spade.
David
Rob
Spade.
Schneider.
Who would have been the best?
Mandalorian man. Catch a lot of bad guys.
Joe Piscopo. That's the big. Who's the worst?
Mitch Hedberg. The ghost of Mitch Hedberg is Baby Yoda.
Ghost Force Mitch Hedberg.
I love it. Wait, that wasn't your second, was it?
That was my second.
That was your second. Oh, was yours?
My first one, we shared Muppet Babies.
Okay, what was, okay.
So now we're on to Winfield's second.
Winfield.
Before Baby Yoda, there was another baby that took the internet by storm, and that is the baby Groot.
Yes.
Also on my list.
Okay.
I told you before this episode, I thought we were going to have some crossover here.
Yeah. Baby Groot, what I liked about the introduction of Baby Groot is he served, he's been an interesting narrative and an interesting way to track the time and the development of this group of people as friends. At the end of the first Guardians of the Galaxy movie, Groot, this humanoid tree thing that only says one thing that means everything, sacrifices himself to save the other 4 people, mostly by turning into nuts being poured into the hand of Richard and the chomping.
Chomp, 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 chomp. Now, to be fair, why would you have lightly salted peanuts at the recording thing if you're not going to hear me eating them?
He turns into, he kind of saves them, but somehow a little snippet of him, a little sapling sort of survives, and you just, like at the end of the movie, you discover him planted in this little pot, and he's this, it's so cute.
Oh, yeah.
And it's a very heartwarming thing to see this person that made this sacrifice survive in another form. I think, that's always tough to do when you want to like kill off a major character and then bring them back immediately. But I think they found a way. If they brought him back as like adult Groot, or if he grew into this thing in the first movie, it'd be like, okay, who cares? But
they found a loophole that made it work.
A great loophole, that he has started a sapling that turned into this dancing potted plant thing that everybody loved. That became an instant, I'm sure, $19.99 toy.
I bought it.
Do you have it?
Oh, yeah. My daughter had it too. Yeah.
And then the next movie, he was like toddler Groot.
Yeah.
And he had more animation.
He could run.
And he could run and do things. And he did things that like toddlers do with pushing the button and just hijinks. Then turned into like sullen teenage Groot.
Yeah.
That's the best. That was one, I think that is the best post-credits kicker scene in the entire Marvel franchise. Is Teen Groot and Quill having to come in and like yell at him. Maybe it's because I got a 12-year-old now.
Well, get ready for gig economy Groot holding down 3 jobs trying to pay off a student loan as like his boomer grandfather is telling him how terrible his music is.
Yeah.
Zennial Groot is the next step. But I think that they were able to bring a whole new life into a character that was kind of like a one-note badass by turning it into a baby, which is weird to think of and weird to do.
Yeah. I think as they go from a bunch of antagonists to strangers sharing a mission to a family, the fact that they are co-parenting a child is helpful to show how much they need to stay together, or they're doing things as a family. I also think Groot as a character, like Chewbacca, speaks incoherently, and so it necessitates other people repeating it, so other people can speak the thoughts of this character, acts somewhat as a conscious character.
Or R2D2.
Or R2, yeah.
Yeah, because C-3PO is kind of the one who has to translate him.
Yeah. So, as Chewie would always say, shouldn't we help them, or that's not right, or Chewie would always kind of say...
In New Hope, after Han and Luke have their little tiff right before the Battle of Yavin's going to start, and then Chewie just gives a...
Yes, yeah.
Have you seen the behind-the-scenes footage when Peter
The old man's going mad.
Yeah, Peter Mayhew is saying these things, and you're he's working on the Millennium Falcon in Empire Strikes Back, and he's up there soldering.
Yeah.
He's like, "Hey, what you doing? Come on back here. Come back and help me with this thing." And Han's like, "All right, already." He's like, "What are you doing going over there? Go on up there." And he's like, "Man, this is exactly how he sounds."
I love that a British house painter is yelling at Han Solo. Well, that's a great choice. I love that character, and I love how they can do innovative things with it. And I'm always amazed when you can find some way to make something new and fresh. And even as an adult character, Groot had a naivete. After he murders a bunch of bad guys, he kind of turns around to the others like, "Did I do good?" And they go, "Yeah, good job," killing everything. That fact that he says, "We are Groot," just tears my heart out every time. He's, oh my God. Okay, so this must be our halftime. Am I right?
Yeah.
Am I right? All right.
Halftime plus.
Halftime plus. Okay.
Disney Plus.
We've dipped our toe
Disney Plus.
over halftime.
Oh yeah, we
Dragged
drug it
Richard a little
somewhat
bit.
into that.
Right, I'm sucked in at this point, yeah.
So at halftime, I want to invite you to be on the lookout for future episodes of the Mount Rushmore podcast, where we are going to go live, total Rushmore live, and discuss things like the Mount Rushmore of award season, the Mount Rushmore of National Pizza Day, the Mount Rushmore of the best Irish people in history. And we are going to be live and be inviting you to join the discussion, to give your opinions, to go up against our competitors of Michael and Richard and whoever guest we might have in the studio.
And I would like to point out that, you remember when MTV used to have the contest where John Cougar Mellencamp would come and play in your backyard?
Paint the mother pink, the house.
Yeah,
and stuff
exactly. We will do that as well. If you would like us to come to your house,
I love that,
and do a live version of the podcast at your house, as long as you've got food, and maybe some wine,
okay,
we're more than happy to come over to do that.
You don't even have to be home. Just leave the door.
Yeah, exactly.
You just might come over.
Exactly.
Maybe we need to contest people to make sure that we don't come over. Maybe we should just say we're coming over.
Is Jeff trying to win this contest?
I want to come over. You know what? Let's go to Patty's house and talk about babies. Muppet babies. Yeah.
Mount Rushmore Muppet babies. Sorry, Patty.
I love it. Well, the best way you could let us know that you want us to come to your house and discuss a Mount Rushmore of anything you might want us to discuss would be to contact us on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram, where we have thriving communities of like-minded individuals who all love the Mount Rushmore podcast and have come together to share their mutual affinity for what we do here. And those people also go out on the iTunes podcast platform and Spotify and Stitcher and iHeartRadio, and they also download, rate, and review our past episodes and current episodes. So we invite you to do that too. Speaking of babies, if you want to see podcast babies, go back 3 years and you'll hear us.
We were such babes.
We were such babies. That's a good way to do it.
Yeah,
go back and hear us as babies.
Look, much like with a baby, sometimes you can't understand what they're saying. With the early episodes, sound quality, it was a little sketchy.
Nah.
But the content's still good.
Ham radio was a good recording platform for us.
Remember we tried to do the Morse code episode?
Yeah, the Morse
code kind of a bust.
Recording on wax cylinders during the summer in LA. Bad idea.
Thanks, Jack. Thanks, Jack White.
It melted as soon as it happened. Okay, so it'll be Michael. And Michael's third?
I've already done my third. So
okay.
Yeah. Mine is off the beaten path a little bit. Lowercase cursive E. Man. There is no easier letter to write than lowercase cursive e. Cursive characters drive me crazy.
You're getting side eye. You're getting.
That's fine. I don't
Richard's
care.
looking at you like a Dalmatian. Like,
That's okay.
I'm not even mad about it. I'm just confused.
Just think about it.
I'm
as
just
a character.
confused.
a character. Okay.
Writing
Okay.
in cursive.
Is lowercase the baby version of uppercase?
Yeah.
Jeff?
I would venture that I guess baby version would be the first version, which would be the one that comes first, and that's capital. I don't think it is. It's smaller.
It certainly is smaller. Well, let me make my case.
Okay.
Make your case.
And then come back, and I don't mind not getting any points for this. Because that's fine.
I'm willing to hear the argument.
Lowercase cursive e.
Because listen, I'm...
the loopiest character.
Because I could not include Ant-Man turning into a baby on the Mount Rushmore of babies.
Okay.
No
All
matter
right.
how hard I wanted.
You wanted to. Oh,
really wanted to.
okay.
I have terrible handwriting. Not just like doctor handwriting
Oh, yeah.
terrible. Just like
Oh, yeah.
I start writing and I'm adding extra letters in there. I know
Yeah.
how to spell most words,
Yeah.
I would think. But somehow in the writing of them, it gets lost. But the one character that really saves me every time is just throw a little E in there.
The E.
It's the easiest to add in.
Yeah.
It's the easiest to throw in there and be like, maybe it's in there somewhere.
See,
Yeah.
my E's and A's look startlingly similar
Oh.
when I do cursive. So I have even a problem with that.
I think when it comes down to it, I am just not patient enough with writing. I don't take my time.
Yeah.
So a lot of it's just like, I mean, I try to write a lovely Christmas card to my wife or whatever, birthday card, anything. And I can tell that she's just like looking at it and then doing the thing with the glasses. And she's not even wearing glasses, which makes it more insulting. You're holding it far away and turning it sideways. And she's gleaming the sentiment. I have a hard time with I start out like writing like with block letters.
Yeah.
What's the opposite of cursive?
Print.
Yeah. And then somehow it just gets lazy and turns into cursive. And then I'm like, I don't know.
I picture Michael like Charlie Brown trying to write his pen pal.
Yeah.
Where there's just globs of ink sort of like all over the place.
Well, I'm not left-handed, so it's not like I'm smearing it the wrong way.
Have you tried writing left-handed?
Maybe
it
that's
might
the
be an
problem.
improvement.
Have you tried cutting letters out of publications such as magazines and newspapers, then pasting them?
For a lovely note for your wife.
I don't know. I think that this letter, of all the letters, and I did my studying. I was looking at like all the letters in cursive, uppercase and lowercase. Some you really got to stretch. Like, I don't know what the fuck Z is doing.
Yeah.
Z is just like trying way too hard.
Yeah.
X is kind of nice. I is okay, but you got to go back and dot it. You got to remember to go back. And
Q gets kind of wild.
Q's all over the place.
Wasn't this the fancy new writing? Cursive was supposed to be the kick-ass new way to write that's faster than print.
Was
than
it?
Than print.
I thought fancier, like old-fashioned way.
I thought it was the way that you could write efficiently because you didn't have to lift the pen off the paper all the time.
That isn't an interesting. It seems like that makes sense.
I thought that was the new speed
But it feels like
writing.
you were just kind of. It feels like also something that's going to be lost as everyone kind of moves to more
Typing,
tablet
yeah.
and typing and.
Oh, yeah.
just- you don't see a lot of like. I guess people used to call it like fancy writing.
Fancy boy writing.
Your
Wealthy
fancy
writing.
handwriting.
That's how I feel writing. Writing the inscription, the salutation on the card for the person who's leaving or the get well. Is that just like this? Doesn't this look like a pained person, like a diseased invalid person who's writing? It's just I'm so pained just to write.
It's tough. I don't know. I think it's a patience thing. I think that also I get to the end and I'm signing my name and like I'm not sure what to do.
Yeah,
Like I don't want to do like my signature,
yeah,
but I want it to be quasi legible,
Yeah.
and then I end up fucking it up.
Yeah.
It ends up not looking like the way I would normally write my name because I'm overconscious. But God bless that little baby E that's in there. That's just like it's easy to do. It's just a little loop, and I'm never mad at it.
Borglum bag. You just made me think of Tiny E. Tiny Elvis. Remember SNL had Tiny Elvis?
Well, that's me.
I'm
Tiny Elvis.
What's up, Tiny
Just
Elvis?
on the dashboard. Hey, man.
Hey, I'm Tiny Elvis.
Look at those dice. Those are some big old dice. That's right, Tiny.
That's right, Tiny E. Yeah. And everybody said yes to whatever he said.
See, when you said small E, my first thought was E, the lead singer of the indie rock band Eels.
Oh, okay.
That's where was where my head was at.
Eels, also a band that I think spells their name with two baby
Lowercase?
E's.
Yes, they
Oh,
do.
is that right?
And an
Yeah.
LS.
Yes, and they're not the Eels. They're just
Eels.
Eels. Just like the Ramones are not the Ramones.
They're just Ramones.
Ramones.
Ramones. Okay, lower cursive E. And then, Richard, you got some left, right?
Yeah, one more.
Okay.
And it's a big one.
All right.
It's a little baby,
Wait,
but it's a big one.
It's a big one. Okay.
It could be big baby Jesus.
Hold on.
If you're ODB.
Groot was also mentioned by Butch Cavallo.
Uh-huh.
And it was also mentioned, Baby Groot was also mentioned by my good buddy Christina Ronstadt. And there you go. Sorry.
Can you
Go.
take 7 minutes just to mention all the people that mentioned lower cursive E, please? We'll just wait.
Okay. Yeah, you will wait. Little baby Jesus.
Oh, okay.
The most famous of all babies.
Okay.
And I mainly bring this up because, you hear a lot about adult Jesus. He's in the Bible a lot.
Yeah.
And baby Jesus is in the Bible a lot, right? Mm-hmm. Do you ever hear a lot about toddler Jesus?
Oh, no.
He's been kind of written out of Scripture. You know why?
Yeah.
Because toddlers are assholes.
They're assholes. Terrible twos.
They're terrible. And
Yeah.
I can only imagine that toddler Jesus was a real handful for Joseph and Mary. Now, why do you think the phrase is Jesus, Joseph, and Mary?
Yeah.
It came from when he was 2.
Yeah.
I mean, you've got basically a magical toddler.
Did
Bad news.
question about the J man? Either
Yeah.
either baby J, toddler J,
Little
or
baby J, yeah.
adult J.
Uh-huh.
Did he always have magic powers, or did they come to him one day? I literally don't know.
I don't know either because I believe in the Bible they just sort of skip most of his
20 years,
Yeah, they
25 years, and they're just like,
it's-
oh, here you go.
Yeah, pretty much. As far as I know now, if anyone
George
here,
Lucas doing the Jesus prequels, that's all we need.
or we could have is like a Degrassi Junior High version, as my wife Sarah said, we could have a Nazareth Junior High. We could see Jesus as like a 12-year-old. I'd watch that.
So back to baby Jesus.
Back to baby Jesus, though.
BJ.
The most stolen of all babies, at least from any
Mangers
scene.
and things, yeah.
Yeah. So
You didn't think the
everyone's-
Lindbergh baby got stolen once.
only got stolen once, but that
Yeah.
baby Jesus has been stolen a
Yeah.
lot.
Yeah.
And he's little B.
Anderson Dadu mentioned Baby Jesus.
Did he?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I just
6 pound, 8 ounce Baby Jesus.
there is
Oh, that might be a Talladega Nights
That
reference?
does sound like,
I
yeah.
believe
10
that is.
pound, 8 ounce,
Yeah.
sweet little. When you do your prayers and your thanks, you say whichever Jesus you want to. I want to talk about
Yeah. Okay.
little Jesus in the
There you go.
manger.
Then there's something, and we've been making fun of this whole thing for a few minutes here. There is something about the idea of this, I almost said Christ-like figure. Christ, not Christ-like. This sort of Messiah, but as a helpless toddler or a
Yeah.
helpless baby.
Yeah.
That is, I don't know, comforting in a sense. This whole idea that everyone needs help at some point in their lives, even Jesus. Even Jesus needed his diaper changed at some point.
But by 2, he was at college or something, wasn't he?
Yeah, he's not Doogie Howser.
Okay.
You're thinking of Doogie Howser.
Well, yeah.
As
You're right.
usual. You're always thinking Doogie Howser.
Okay.
But no, there is actually, I think, something sort of comforting about that fact that everybody needs help at some point, even Jesus when he was a baby.
Yeah. Okay.
So there.
Yeah. Totally get it. Do we feel that there was also the homunculus man? That depiction of the Jesus as essentially, when you see his face, he's got a man face. I don't know if that was that was an art history thing where like guys are born with this, especially holy characters are born as depicted as infants, but yet with this masculine, fully adult type of
isn't
face.
that just they just didn't know how to draw like
A baby.
A baby
babies?
face.
They also didn't know how to draw cats.
Oh yeah,
Like they're just
Cats look
terrible
weird,
drawing
yeah.
like cat faces and like I don't know, a camel. You ask these people in Britain and they're like, I'm gonna do a painting of a
Yeah.
cat. They didn't know what they're just like just describe it to me,
Mm-hmm.
and then they just kind of like this is as close as I'm gonna get.
Yeah,
Here's
I'm
my-
looking at you with the same look that I looked at
10
Michael
quid.
when he started talking about like little E. So
All
I
right.
don't know where we're going with this.
Okay. So Winfield, what's the last one you got?
My last one is the X Babies.
Okay.
From the X-Men comic book series.
Okay.
So there was a
Sorry, all I could think of was the Simpsons episode where
V for Vendetta.
yeah,
Okay.
the Watchmen babies. Yeah,
Well,
that's all I
our-
could think of.
Your very best friend and our good friend Eric Gottesman demands a discussion of the X babies in the Mojoverse.
This is where we're going.
Okay.
The X Babies. So there is a character in the X-Men universe. I guess it's the Marvel universe, but he really only deals with the X-Men, named Mojo, who's this big yellow slug-like character.
Is he a monkey?
No, kind of.
That's Mojo Jojo.
That's Mojo Jojo. Kind of Jabba the Hutt-ish, but think of like spider, like these mechanical spider legs. Kind of his face is kind of pulled back, like
Kenny Rogers.
who's the main guy in Clockwork Orange, with his eyes constantly pulled open.
Oh,
at the
Alex,
end.
the Druid.
yeah.
So he's like this just disgusting character, but he's like the ruler of this alternate dimension called like the Mojo verse, where his power and his rule over his people is based on TV ratings. So he's like this disgusting version of like a TV producer, basically commentary on the TV
I love it.
producer, and his projections of the X-Men's adventures from our universe get the highest ratings
Yeah.
in his universe. And at some point, the X-Men die or they're killed off in this event involving a trans-dimensional portal called the Sage Perilous. Yada, yada, yada. He's, all of a sudden, his ratings go down. So
Oh.
he's worried about
Yeah.
his power. And so he creates baby versions of the X-Men, and they're so cute, and they're the only things that kind of keep him in control.
Oh, wow.
But imagine, like, just you take Wolverine, and he's reduced down to this adorable toddler body. Same thing with Cyclops.
Yeah.
Probably Psylocke and Colossus and some
Yeah.
of the regulars in the mid-'80s. And they're just cute toddler versions of the characters, and they've had other adventures and more like the animation style really kind of or the artist's interpretation. Art Adams was the guy that drew it back then in the 80s, and he can be very cartoonish, and he's inspired a bunch of others to kind of have adventures of like the X babies, but they're the X-Men, but they're just like,
Yeah.
2.5 feet tall, 3 feet tall. Cute stuff.
Anderson
And I think
also
it was
wanted.
definitely inspired by Muppet Babies.
Is it really?
Bring it back full circle to.
Is it satire, or are they having? Is it?
Yeah. Oh, total,
Done with a
total
straight
satire.
face.
I mean, I think anytime the X-Men are such a weird comic in
Yeah.
that, initially it seemed to have been derived from, kind of like the 1960s racism, and Professor X is this Martin Luther King sort of type character, and Magneto is this Malcolm X sort of type character.
Oh.
At least ideologically, one is about separating yourself and a better race. The
Which
other
one's
one
always talking about honkies? Is that Magneto?
that was the Juggernaut, I believe. But at some point, like all comic book characters, they kind of branch out from their initial sort of ideals into
Yeah.
space.
Yeah.
And so they have these adventures in space with the Starjammers. They have adventures in alternate dimensions. And at some point, you're just like, Chris Claremont, the writer, was just like writing crazy X-Men stories. And X-Men stories were less about being different and outcast from societies and this new version of man that's going to replace everybody. And it was just like superheroes fighting giant space monsters.
I see. The same era of Marvel that created Luke Cage or whatever was the same one that had the ripped from the headlines. It was paralleling some social issues of the day.
Yeah.
But then it became this total abstraction of Okay. Guys, babies. Hey, babies. Some other great suggestions from the folks out in the babyverse of the Rushmore babyverse. We didn't do President Babies, which is kind of good. Scott Jones, Baby Mario, and others on Mario Kart.
Oh, that's an excellent choice.
Yeah, he also mentioned Baby Groot and Baby Yoda. Kelly Granlund, Tiny Toons.
But they're not babies, though.
Only one, really. Probably whatever the version of Daffy Duck.
Okay.
He was kind of a baby.
Justin Caesar, Baby Zoidberg.
That's a good one.
Yeah. Douglas Jennings, Teen Titans don't really count as babies, but they're better versions of their DC adult characters. Then Butch Cavello, thank you, Baby Groot. And Tim Hellendring echoed Skojo's. I immediately think of Baby Mario and Baby Luigi. Zeke Burgess, Baby Cthulhu. And Zeke also Xenomorph Newborn. So
That's a deep cut.
Then there's some ire that was drawn, not just Patty for Muppet Babies, but Gordon Gilgus hating Scrappy Doo. But then also mentioning that Vern Troyer ended miserably as well, a Baby Dr. Evil. And then
Baby Dr. Evil, that's a good one.
Mini-Me, yeah.
He's not a baby version. He's just a little person version.
Yeah. Melissa Arredondo, her ire was directed towards Godzuki. Do you remember Godzuki?
Oh, yeah, from
Yeah.
the cartoon.
That's a great one.
That's a really good one.
Excellent choice.
But that's not but here's the thing. That's not a baby version of Godzilla. That's a baby.
Yeah. I think...
But then Baby Yoda isn't a...
I think it is. So
Okay.
That's my issue.
Stuart Greenberg, he did bring up in the comics when Superman was transformed into Super Baby.
I don't remember that.
I don't recall that.
Was there ever a Bat Baby?
Gotta be a Bat Baby.
There's who's the guy that did the Batman the animated series?
Mark Hamill?
No.
I'm
trying to think of that.
Phil Tim or Mike Tim.
Tim something or other.
Yeah.
Anyway, he wrote a very delightful kind of one-off short story called Lana Lang, Superman's babysitter.
Oh, really?
It was all about her babysitting this.
Oh,
this
wow.
Baby. It's kind of like Bruce Timm. There
Bruce
are
Timm.
elements of like Jack from The Incredibles where this Superman, Clark Kent as a baby is just giving her the fits as he's walking into like an oven and picking up the refrigerator and, heat vision and all that stuff.
Oh, that's awesome. Anderson's our good buddy. He always brings up some fun things. He did bring out Baby X-Men. Shout out to Scotty Young. I have these guys tattooed on myself. Baby Alien Chestburster from Alien. He put that as a sleeper pick. So want to thank all you guys for all those great suggestions. And now it's my job to go, I'm a baby now. Sorry, guys. I can't make any picks. I'm going with lower Cursive E because it was a ballsy move. And it's a character. And I'm going with Muppet Babies because you guys, I guess, both chose it. And I got to go with Baby Groot. And
By the way, there was a Bat Baby.
There's a Bat Baby.
There's an episode. I think it was in Batman 147. There's a scientist who turns Batman's body into that of a 4-year-old.
Oh, wow.
So he has to fight crime as a 4-year-old.
Oh, wow.
kid.
I mean, he doesn't have to.
Yeah, he doesn't have to.
Take a night off. What?
Yeah, your parents aren't dead yet.
Got one more to go.
Baby X-Men. Because why not? Well played, gents. This has been the Mount Rushmore of Mount Rushmore of Mount Rushmore. My name is always Baby Jeff.
I'm Baby Richard.
Hi, Michael.
He you
can't get a bite. No.
He's got too much...
Which pride?
Pride?
Is that what? That's
Self-respect.
Self-respect. I'm not familiar with those
Certainly not
terms.
that.